Hi there, my name is Aaron Short and welcome to my YouTube channel. It's a Saturday session today because this week has been huge in the Line 6 Helix community. They've released 3.0, which is a huge update, and we're going to discuss this and have some fun today and also get to know my friend Chad Boston. How you doing, Chad? Oh, hang on. There you are. Sorry. How you doing, Chad?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well. You must be very happy this week, right? With 3.0 being released. It's a huge occasion for Line 6, right?
Well, yeah, and it's coupled with that of reaching recently reaching 30,000 members in the group. So 30,000 3.0 seems just to be a great pair. So
Are the two things connected? Were they waiting to release that when you hit 30,000 members?
no, it just happened. It did. They just happened at the same time, basically. So
Yeah, sure. I'm just kidding. So let's start off. We're going to talk and take questions about 3.0 later on because I'm sure people have a lot of thoughts about it. I sure do. But before we do that, for anyone that doesn't know you, can we just start a bit about you and how did you first learn about the Helix and when did you get one? Did you get were you like one of the first people to get one of these?
well, it goes back to you know, well, it goes way back to when I was like 16. No, I wanted to play guitar when I was younger, and when you're younger, you don't have the drive or whatever. So in about 2010 is when I decided to take up guitar, and I've had, I went through just what everybody else does, the gear acquisition syndrome, or gas, as
Yes.
people like to, I suffer from multiple areas of this. No, just kidding. But I wanted to learn to play guitar, and then I was interested in the gear, and I went through all of buying this guitar, that guitar, this guitar, that guitar, and then this, these pedals, this pedal, this amp, this, we've all been through it. And then I really, went through the beans, and I like them, but I wanted something more foot controllable, so I went to the HD 500, and I really like that. And then I went through, the Boss pedals, and I've had the TC Helicon pedals. In fact, I've got old videos on my channel for those. And that's actually where I met Chris Saraga. He actually purchased my TC Helicon years ago. This was on the lines of before Helix. Now we know that Line 6 was planning Helix from like 2012. But then, so I'm loving the HD 500, and I started hearing different things on the gear page, and the gear page. Listen, I love it for what it is, but we were on the gear page, and you kind of get you can get roasted pretty heavily on the gear page. So I heard about the Line 6 Helix coming out, and I was so intrigued, and I was digging into it, and we had decided to start something. That we started the Chris and I decided to get together, and we started the Helix group because as many people know, it's not the most friendly place out there in the gear sphere, and especially on
the
places
internet,
like,
right?
and so we wanted to start a place that would, you could kind of tell that the Helix was going to be something special, something big, ahead of its time. And so I decided to start a Facebook group, and that Facebook group just kept growing and growing and growing, and up to I thought we were really doing good at like 500 members or whatever. And then I decided I was going to do the I pre-ordered like immediately, and Zounds had said that they're going to have they were going to send them out, and it was supposed to be first come first serve, and I had found out about when I was supposed to get it, and I had planned this huge live stream. It was like it was like a train wreck, but it was like 7 hours long. During that 7 hours, I had realized that it wasn't going to get delivered. So I got a hold of Guitar Center, and they just happened to have one. So I went down. I borrowed enough money to go buy it. So I went down to the Guitar Center while I'm live streaming. I am live streaming this 7 hours preamble. There was like 4 hours of preamble. So
and remember, like 2015, people weren't really live streaming. Live streaming is only this recently come into its own, hasn't it? So 2015, live streaming was kind of...
People were, but it was interesting that unbeknownst to me till a day later, I'll get into that, but I went down and I got the Helix and I turned on, I opened up the live stream. It's like, okay, we're ready now. It's, we're like, I don't know, I think it was like 4 hours into it. And I literally pulled it out of the box in front of everybody, set it up, and I started to go in and dial in and go through everything. No, I was probably one of the first people with it out in the wild, and this was probably the first time anybody was able to hear the fabulous tones, not coming from my fingers, but out of the Helix. And so unbeknownst to me, Line 6 was watching this stream. And let's see if I get the picture. They took a picture. Hold on, let's see. It's in my favorites.
The famous picture. I've seen this.
Yeah, everybody's seen it. Okay, it's the one where Line 6 was around in their conference room, and my hand is on the screen. They're all watching my live stream. So that was the beginning, and that was early on. And then we've grown the group ever since.
So you were a fan from day one. That's you're like the original fan. And I just want to cover something. So you met Chris. Let's also mention Chris and the other guys that run the group, moderate the group, and do a great job. But you met Chris through the TC Helicon. I'm going to reference TC Helicon later on as we talk about what I want from these pedals and things. So you actually had the Voice Live 3 Extreme at that point, right? And then you moved to...
It was not the Extreme, but it was just the Voice Live 3.
Right.
But, the Extreme's not much different.
Right.
But
you had the Voice Live 3, and then you got the Helix. Because I want to talk about what I want to see in the future from gear and stuff like that. And I actually think some of those products had a lot to offer and still do, even 5 years ago. We'll talk about the future later on, though.
Something to consider is when we first got into the Helix is version 1.0, and remember, there was no editor in the beginning. There was no Ajax Edit, no editor. Yeah. So you just had the unit, and wow, it has come so far with the editor and what's on it that it was worth the money back then, just as it came without anything. And boy, it's so much better now. Okay, let's switch. I'm going to change things up as I go then. What I'm feeling about 3.0, I'm kind of going straight to the end. That's fine. This is all casual. 3.0 added a load of stuff that I wanted them to add. And there's still some more stuff that I want. And let me tell you the backstory of why I want this stuff. I play acoustic and I sing and I do a lot of solo gigs, right? So I want other stuff. I don't want a modeler to only be like a guitar amp and some pedals. I want to take advantage of the digital stuff to do more. I want to. Okay, let's go back to Voice Live 3. The Extreme can import loops, can import backing tracks, has vocal harmonies that sound really good. And I was such a huge fan of TC Helicon as a vocalist, and I've been wanting more of that kind of content in my other pedals, like the Helix. And I feel in 3.0 they've taken a step in that direction. I'm not going to get too excited and expect them to add in looping and drum machines and vocal harmonies, but they've taken a step in the direction which I really, really wanted. There's so much stuff in there we'll talk about later that I really wanted my pedals to have, like the freeze function, the polyphonic function, to play bass lines in with a good bass shifter. All this stuff, and the acoustic simulator, all these things they've now added, and I think they're going in a direction that I was hoping that they would. And yeah, let's talk about that last 5 years. It's been a long journey, hasn't it?
when that thing was released, it didn't. I think Ben Vesco posted in the group today that when they released it, it didn't have many amps or effects. Well, I say not many, but compared to what they have now, I mean, don't forget they added all the legacy effects and all that stuff as well. They've grown it so much. It's matured so much over the last 5 years, and it's going in the direction that I want it to. And my fear when new products come out now is that they haven't had that time to mature yet. Everyone's excited about the Quad Cortex. I love the form factor. I love the idea of it, but they're going to need a lot of time to catch up to that point. And I think Line 6 are in a good position now with all that ground covered. And I'm sure they have a roadmap into the future as well. And we'll talk about that later, what we'd like to see. But what do you think have been the most significant steps? Like, what would you say the two most significant steps that they've added over the last 5 years are, in your opinion? Or the first ones that come to mind from that day that you first got it? What's made the biggest change to the way you use it?
Well, I'd have to say that it's probably, the editor, ease of use of the editor, and having the editor is a very important feature. However, you've got base functionalities that they've added that are incredible, like being able to use your foot switch as a hotkey controller for your computer. That's a fantastic addition that I know there was Eric Klein who really, really wanted it, and he was very excited when he was able to announce that he added it, and he got to tell all the naysayers, I did it, and there it is. So yeah. I mean, having these extra functions and functionalities they've added, this year with the COVID, and it's just put everything upside down. To be able to get this latest update out is really incredible when they're not actually able to be around each other. And then the interesting thing that they did just about a month or so ago with a final sort of a public offering of adding some beta testers from the different group, that was actually a fairly genius way to get some new ideas and to add some further testing, is to open it up a little bit to people.
Yeah, that was really smart. That was really smart.
And I want to say to anybody who ever gets to do an NDA with Line 6, make sure you live up to it and don't tell people and don't kind of let on or ask questions about it, because that gets aced out of the group, and it's not a good thing. Just take the nice gift that Line 6 gave you and keep it a non-disclosure agreement. So
it's a legal I get scared when I've signed those things in the past. I get scared, like read all the fine print, and it's a contract, isn't it? So
yeah.
Yeah, that was very smart though, because rather than release it and then have to release another update 7 days later with minor fixes, they've already done those fixes, I presume, so it comes out and it's good to go. The only problem I had was with my Stomp. I had to do a full reset, because actually I do use they've added the command center to the Stomp, which some people might think is not that useful because it's only got the 3 buttons. It's actually on the 3 buttons and the external 2 foot switches as well. So I'm using an external 2-button foot switch on my Stomp to change cameras. I'm using Ecamm Live today for this stream, and it has keyboard commands to switch scenes. So it's Command and 1 is me. I'll just show you. This is Command and 1 if I do it on the keyboard. This is Command and 2. This is Command and 3. So you can assign those 3 buttons, or 2 of them, to a 2-button foot switch to switch scenes while you're live streaming. And that's been a huge thing this year, hasn't it? Live streaming and finding new ways to perform. So switching cameras is an obvious one, and that is in the Helix. So I think there's some features in there that some people don't use. Like maybe some people never use the command center or the keyboard commands, right? Which is fine. But then when you do have a use for them, it's amazing, because like I can now switch cameras while I'm playing. It's just such a nice addition, and that's I love that about that. I love that they're thinking outside the box, aren't they? Which is really cool. So yeah, apologies. I'm flashing your message up on the screen. We've got Doc Brown there from Line 6. Hi, Doc. And And we'll do some discussion later on. Once we've talked about this stuff, we'll just open it up and just do Q&A and just talk about any questions you've got and if you want our thoughts on anything. But that's where I am right now. I really think that they're going in a great direction with this. I mean, they've always had great control of everything, but now they're adding in features that I really, really was missing, and now they're there. So we'll talk about them later on, and also our initial kind of impressions and favorite features and experiences that we've had. If you've got any thoughts on that, please put it in the chat. Before we talk about 3.0, just tell us about Gear by Seba, because you've also kind of made a business that you're intertwining with the group. So this is not only, the Helix has not only become something that you use to make music, you've also made friends and contacts through the group, and now you're actually made a business from it as well, selling accessories and screen guards for the Helix and other products. So this is your whole life is now based around this thing, right? It's kind of cool. It's a great story. So just tell us about Gear by Seba and where people can get the products and how that's going, and if you've got any plans for the future with that business.
Okay, so here's the thing with Gear by Seba. When I first started the group out there, I did realize what I would unleash, and I'm not hired by Line 6. I don't get paid by Line 6, and being able to take care of this group, and boy, I've done a whole lot of stuff, and then I decided there was some things that could help the musicians with this product. And one of the first things that I came up with was a splash shield. And my first commercial, I took a scene out of Psycho and the bathroom scene, and I put it over, and just as the curtain opened up, this heavy rock music started playing, and when the shower was revealed, I was spraying water over the top of my Helix in the shower. Not recommended to do at home, by the way, but and it stayed on and everything was working. Really kind of dangerous, but anyway, so I made this shield, and then I slowly expanded into screen guards and different things. Let me get this.
It was really smart, because what's the first thing people said when the Kemper stage was announced? Don't spill a beer on it. That's the first thing people say with these foot pedals. Don't spill a beer on it. Don't spill a beer on it. So they're smart to have these protectors for them.
So I went through many different things. We've got the sun shields. I just keep making and creating, and then we've got skins that we put on them. But then one of the most ingenious is the ability to have this connection tag kit, and it makes it easy for hookups. But as you can see, if you look, they're upside down, so that you can look over the top and go, oh, that's there, that's there, that's there. Boom, it's easy. But then we have these shields and magnetic shields now.
Oh,
they pop
cool.
on and off, and then we have the foot switch buttons. I don't have any on right now because unfortunately they're come in stock, and people buy them up, and I can't even keep them on my machine because I run out.
Yeah, you got a version 2 now, right? They look really cool.
Yeah, the version 2 of those toppers are magnetically attached. They are not. There's no set screw, and they're not for other units. Some people want them for other units, and because they're magnetic, well, because of the capacitance foot switch, Line 6 uses steel or a material that can attract a ferrous material, and all the other ones are using aluminum. Michael Folsom says the foot switch toppers are awesome.
Yeah, you got a lot of good happy customers in here.
Yeah. So right now, so before we get off this subject, but right now, an automatic sale until the end of November is in place on Gear by Seba, CEBA.com. 15% off. So you don't have to put a code in or anything, just automatic.
I'll put the link in the chat. Gearbyseba.com. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So just one quick question then. How did you learn how to do this? Is this something that you did before the Helix, or did you learn how to do this for this business, or what's the story there? I never asked you that.
Um, okay. So, all of my life, when I went to high school, I took many years of auto shop, and this auto shop, they taught me one thing, and it's a lesson that carries through everything. Through see, I started when I was 18. I started a computer repair business, and I ran that for. I still have clients, but in high school, I learned a field from something that really shouldn't have given me that, but it's the field of troubleshooting. So it doesn't matter what is in front of me. There is a way to troubleshoot and find a solution, and and it's carried me through computer repair, and I've been able to fix people's computers, and it's just, here's a problem. I see the solution. Now how do I get there? That's it. So it really doesn't matter what problem's in front of me. I'll find a solution for it, and that's what I did. Is I saw that there was a need, and then I just designed. I don't know where it came from. I just designed it, and there it comes out. So
That's really cool. I had a thought for a new product. You want to hear it? I'll give
Sure.
it. I'll give it to you for free. Um, well, here's one thing about 3.0, which we'll now move on to very soon. But with 3.0, I'm not going to say the DSP is limited, but the new effects use a lot of DSP, right? We've all seen that when we load them
Yeah.
in. It's been made very clear to us this is the way it is, and that's fair enough. But I have the floor and the stomp, and I know Alex here, and Alex talked about using the two together because you can with Command Center. How about something that would allow me to attach the stomp to the Helix in some kind of way, so it goes on top, or it lives on it as one unit?
We can do that.
Is that a good idea? Let me know in the chat if that's a good idea. It just came to me in a vision. Anyway. No, because I think we'll talk about this later on, and I've got a lot of thoughts about this. The new effects are so good, and it's because they're using a lot of DSP. And if you've got a stomp that you use for travel, and you've got a floor that you use for shows, why not have them together and put the pitch effects in the stomp and offload that DSP, so you've freed up DSP in the Helix? Because even the new amps and the new distortion pedals and things are using a lot of DSP, and I think that's good. I think they sound really good, but obviously a unit that was released in 2015 is not going to have the DSP that we have now. And that brings me on to a whole new point later on. I want to talk about native, because I've been using native on my Mac, and that allows you to run everything because there's no DSP limitations. So I want to bring that up as we go as well. I think that's important with the future of these pedals and things, right, Chad? Like what are the next formats going to take? They just released the new Apple laptops with their own processors that are incredibly fast, right? Whatever you think of Apple, the new laptops are incredibly fast, right?
I saw the reports on
Yeah.
them, and I'm looking at my Mac Mini, and when I tried to do my little install video the other day, my Mac Mini was like, "No, you can't broadcast and install something over here. I mean, come on." So I was looking at the new Mac, and apparently the new cheapest Mac Mini that they have, it blows away even the old Pros.
Yeah, I'm really excited. But just imagine this scenario. I was thinking about this morning as well. What if you bought like a MacBook Air and you connected an interface, and I used the Morningstar MC8. You could get 2 or 3 or 4 MC8s, connect them to the interface, connect it to the MacBook Air, run native on the screen, and have a ton of DSP. And that was going to bring me to later. I mean, even the iPad. I know there's no app for the iPad, but I love the apps and I use them a lot. I use the loopers and the different things on the apps. I wonder what the future will be for hardware. Like obviously we kind of, I'm saying I need to see a new hardware version of Helix because I want more DSP. But what's the best way to go? And this is a question for the chat as well. Is the best way to go for these pedals to use the latest ones that they can at the time? A bit like the PlayStation 5, right? PlayStation 5 just came out, and already they're saying when you play a game, you have to choose between the frame rate and the graphics. You can't run them both at full quality like you can on the PC. So is a better way to go not to do plugins for iPads and native and things like that. So we run from a laptop. I know people like the all-in-one form factor, but for power users and people that play on stage, is it not better to have all that DSP? What do you think about that?
It's just a matter of six in one hand, half a dozen in the other. And I don't know about the new. I don't know about the new. The latency. I mean, you can get some pretty good interfaces that are almost, 2, 3 milliseconds, I believe. For me, even 2 or 3 milliseconds when you're a horrible player can throw you off. So I don't know.
Eric just agreed. That's actually a great comparison. The PC versus console gaming with gear now is a great comparison, and it is because they bring out a brand new computer and it's already outdated. Whereas I guess we don't want to be buying a new phone every year just to have the latest and greatest for our foot pedal for the guitar. But there is a lot of serious processing power in those devices that they could possibly tap into. Alex said, yeah, a stomp dock could be cool. That's the name for it. Stomp dock. HX stomp dock for the Helix. There we go. I think that's a great idea. All right, so that's something that you can all think about as we talk about these new features, about what would you want to see in a future kind of pedal. Do you want to see hardware all-in-ones like we have now, or do you want to see, I did a series on apps. Like, imagine if there was a Helix app that was like $400, but it could exist on your iPad, and you could use it with other apps as well. I feel like companies won't do that because they can't sell their hardware, or maybe Line 6 could make their own MIDI controller, like the MC8, that also pairs with an app, and you run these things from your iPads and not from actual hardware units. I'm thinking way ahead here, and I'm just thinking, this is the stuff I'm thinking about, bearing in mind what I've come up against with the polyphonic stuff. And I've really enjoyed running Native. Native now has a tuner, and I can run as many things as I want, and it's fantastic. And I've got the MIDI working with it. It's not that easy with Logic to get the MIDI controller working with it, because you have to add it as a... I think I saw your video on it, Chad. You have to add it and then route it through. But you can do it. And someone in the group yesterday told me how to do snapshots. I didn't know you could do snapshots in Native. So, you can do them, but I didn't know you could assign them to a button. So now, on the controller down there, I've got snapshot 1, snapshot 2, snapshot 3, freeze on a button, and then 4 more buttons above that. So that's a really powerful unit with Native.
Right.
And I think that's a great option. I think if you are at home, like now, and you're not playing on stage, I think you should get Native and an MC8 and make a little power rig like that to tide you over until whatever we see next. I think that's a really good way to go. Okay, this is what I want to do. I want to bring over to the notes. Let's just quickly read through. It won't take too long on this. I just want to read through what the new features are. And if there's anything that stands out to anyone in the chat or with Chad, just let me know. Just stop me. And I just want to show here. Okay, let me bring Chad on as well. 1 second. How do I do it? There he is. Oh, good, I'm learning. There we go. I'll put you down here. Look, I'll bring myself up here. I do love Ecamm Live. It's amazing. And this live streaming stuff has been so cool this year, of course, and absolute lifesaver. All right. I'm going to start off. The new amps, I absolutely love them. Again, they are what I wanted. The clean for me is amazing because my Strat has very bright pickups, and this amp sounds really warm. Actually, the warmth of it is amazing to me. And then the VH4 is one of my favorite amps I ever played in a Kemper, and now there's a VH4 in a Helix. So for me, they are actually the two amps that I wanted, and I got them. So I guess other people, obviously feel the same way as me. I was expecting maybe more amps, Chad. I don't know. Have you got any info or thoughts on that?
I wasn't. The reason I wasn't is because I knew they were putting so much else into it. I didn't expect too many amps. Now, one thing to think about, and this is a strategy for Helix users, is take an amp that you wouldn't expect to use for the certain genre you're going for, say like blues. Take the new heavy gain amp. Turn it into a blues tone. Change how you would use it. Don't go, I'm going to go monster gain. Pare it down and see what kind of tones you can get. And vice versa. Take and try and make a metal amp out of a princess. Well, maybe that won't work, but still, think outside the box. I guess that's what I want to say.
I'm the opposite, actually. I want a Fender clean and I want a heavy amp, and I've got them. They both sound awesome. Sure. And I can just load them in. I use IRs. I love the York Audio IRs. So I've just got the Fender clean with a Fender IR, and I've got the heavy amp with a 212 Mesa, and it just sounds awesome. It just sounds great. And they're the sounds that I wanted that were not in there, and now they're in there. Because with something like a Kemper, there's a million amps because there's so many profiles. So now I think Line 6 is in a really great place now with their amps, because there's so many amps in there now, and I think they cover a lot of ground. And those two amps for me is pretty much all I wanted. I got a question here. Hi, Jason Carter. Good to see you, my friend. Alex says, what are your feelings on the preset spillover? So I haven't tried this yet. For anyone that doesn't know, what they've done is the Helix has two DSP chips. And rather than run them together, kind of, I guess, in parallel, you can now run one in series with the next one. What that means is when you go to another preset, you don't get any gaps. You get a seamless transition. I guess it's like running two stomps into each other. So this is great for people like me that just use, say, one amp but not many pedals, and I want to switch next to another amp that's completely different, and then another amp that's completely different, stuff like that. So I haven't tried it yet, Chad. I think it's good on paper. I think I might be limited by the DSP like I am with my Stomp, but I think it's cool they put it in here as a kind of way to work around some of this stuff. What do you think?
I haven't honestly ever had an issue with using snapshots to do this, so I don't know. It's a feature that somebody wants. I'm probably never going to use it.
I'm trying to think how I would use it. I guess
I it's not for me. And that that's the beautiful thing about everything they've added. There's one thing that I want, and I've been asking Eric for 4 years for it, and I hope it comes along sometime, and that is an effects ramp up and ramp down. So instead of like on off of an effect, that it would ramp itself in over a certain period of time. Could be you control the time, and then you hit it again and it kind of ramps the effect down, so it's not on off. So that's something I hope that they do, but it may not be something that other people want, but that's okay. The spillover is fine.
They're making it more flexible. That's the cool thing. They're making it more flexible. So maybe that is something that I want to use. Now, I noticed in this update, there's a ton of fuzz pedals, something else that I personally don't really use. But there's so many fuzz pedals now, and I do like them. I've been experimenting with the ones I added last time. Actually, it's interesting. The cool thing about these modelers is when they give you stuff you don't normally use, where you wouldn't go out and buy one, you actually can experiment with it and try it out. I think that's a really cool thing. Let's take a look at these pedals here. There's some pictures here. So what do you think of these guys? I mean, the Precision Drive was really a shock to me. And the Acoustic Sim, I had no idea they would put an Acoustic Sim in there. And then, of course, all the poly stuff as well. So what do you think about these? In the chat as well, let us know what you think. What's your favorite addition here? What are your thoughts on some of these things?
Somebody said they like my guitar, so I just was showing.
Oh, yeah. Show it off.
It's not a Les Paul, it's a Brock.
It's a Brock. Not our friend Brock, right? He didn't make that.
Nope. It's my friend Brock.
Your friend Brock.
Different Brock.
Is he not my friend as well? I thought all our friends were our friends. Let me tell you about my thoughts on this. Acoustic Sim is okay. I've got a question I would like to ask Line 6, but they're not here sadly. But is that Acoustic Sim a one-to-one model of the Boss Acoustic Sim, or is that a new version?
No, it's a one-to-one Boss example, but I have used the older Boss. I've used it, and I hated it because one of the things that it added to the system was a little bit of hum and buzz. So this is void of that, and I love the way it sounds. I've actually created a preset called Acoustic Bliss. It's going to be part of something that I release in the marketplace.
Oh, cool, cool.
Oh, that was one other thing that I think a big change was adding the marketplace. You know, you'd asked that question earlier. I think the marketplace was kind of a nice thing. So
I have thoughts about acoustic sim. On my channel, I do a lot of acoustic guitar pickups and recordings. These acoustic sims, they have a problem, which is that on my Strat, I have magnetic pickups and 9-gauge strings. So for a start, an acoustic guitar has 12-gauge strings that are different strings. You have to remember that with these acoustic simulators. It's really hard to make an electric guitar sound like an acoustic guitar. I actually think the Variax did it really well. But the Variax uses a Baggs kind of piezo individual saddle bridge, so it already is kind of an acoustic bridge to start with. I think that has that in its favor. But yeah, these acoustic sims are... I kind of treat it more as just a different sound. It does sound acoustic-y, but it's very hard to get like an actual acoustic sound. I mean, it's hard enough to get an actual acoustic sound from a real acoustic, let alone electric guitar with a simulator, right? But I think it's cool that, again, I'm just happy they're going in that direction by adding that kind of stuff. And same with the looper too. It's not a new looper. It's using like the old looper to shuffle the things around and make some kind of soundscape stuff, which I like. I'm just looking at the picture here right now. I think the precision drive is great. And of course the pitch stuff, which we'll talk about next. So let me keep going. Okay, so pitch. How useful is this to you? Because it's not like a Variax where we can change individual strings. It's just going to shift the whole thing up or down, right? When we do the pitch things. But is this something that you would actually use? Is this something that you wanted to see? Because this has been a big project for Line 6, right? They've talked about this. It feels like years this has been in development. They've been talking about it.
For me, the capo part of this is, and I've tested them all because I one time went on to a gig and my guitar was tuned to standard and they were all up there at this jam in half step down. Now changing on one, not knowing that, it was really awkward and awful when I was trying to play. But had I had the ability to have a reliable, down tune to one step, well, I was able to get by with the Helix, doing this with just a simple pitch. Because if it's rock music, you didn't hear, full chords, you're doing, power chords, so you didn't hear the dissonance. However, I have used the polyphonic pitch capo on the Kemper, and I must say there was so much milliseconds. I think I did a measurement of it, and it was like 9 milliseconds of gap or delay, and the Helix, they knocked it out of the park. I don't hear any so to speak latency.
Here's another question, because there's options on there to go from the default option has the most latency, the best quality sound, which is excellent, and you can bring it down to where it's got less latency but you get more artifacts. So I wonder if that is something that could be improved with new hardware. I wonder, is that power that could make that?
Well, so if it could be hardware related, but if you scroll all the way down your list here and look at the very, 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 very bottom of this list, it says known issues. It says in the poly pitch models, very fast playing may exhibit some minor onset smearing. Additional improvements to the poly pitch engine are forthcoming. So there are they are still working on them. But they got us a reasonable model out, but they're still going to work on these things.
I see that. Yeah. I mean, no, this is out of the gate. This is fantastic. They did such a good job. I just wonder if it's a hardware limitation that means we could get even less latency, and if they'll carry that over to like a new hardware version. That'd be interesting to see, because it's just so hard to take a pitch and change it down instantly, isn't it? There's always going to be some latency, but the less latency, the better.
I'm sure that the faster, bigger, better hardware that comes out, like Apple's new M1, I'm imagining that's going to, it speeds everything up. It's going to make it go faster. It's going to be it's going to improve it just by nature. So yes, I think hardware is part of it. Hey, we got Jared in the
Jared says Helix 2. I think there'll be a different name to that, but yeah, that'll be the successor. I wonder if the successor will carry all this stuff across and basically be a Helix 2, or if they would. I mean, don't imagine they would start again. Correct me if I'm wrong, or just tell me because I don't know. The device before the Helix, that stuff wasn't. It was all new amps, wasn't it? They didn't port that across. They brought some of the legacy effects in later, but the amps were new for the Helix.
Yeah, they were HX models, not like HD models.
So I wonder if the next Helix will have new amp models, or if they'll bring these across and add to them and spruce them up. That'll be an interesting thing to see what happens.
And right now, listen, we're 5 years down, which is really incredible that they have given us this. Let's just look at it like this. Let's see if I go right there. So first you got the Helix right here, and it used up this much out of this much, right? But we're using maybe this much out of this much. So, the Helix still has room right now to grow and do more. So
Alec had some good points that I'm not familiar with. Let's just discuss those quickly. Regarding the acoustic simulator, he says this is a ground-up creation from the Polyphonic team. The controls are the same as the Boss, but the engine is all new. So it's not a one-for-one copy of the Boss pedal. It's a new creation. And I thought it sounded good. It's still not good enough for me to do like a solo gig with it, but it sounds better to me than the other acoustic sims that have come before it. So that makes sense.
Well, I knew I mean, as far as I was concerned, it was like a knockout of the ballpark compared to actually using. I mean, I put the Boss acoustic simulator on my board once, and it came off 5 minutes later. I was like, garbage.
It's an older pedal. Think what we can do now with IRs and the new tech. Like, I gotta say again, the Variax modeling is so good, and that's kind of old tech now, isn't it? That's like, when was the Variax released? Like 7 years ago, and it still sounds really good.
Maybe even more. I don't know.
I would love to see that. Yeah, a while ago, I'd love to see that in that kind of level of sound in the new stuff. And then Alex says something else really interesting as well. He says the poly stuff is actually purposefully ramped back to consume at most 50% of the DSP. Were those to be removed, then it would be considerably improved even more. So it sounds like there is some headroom that's not being used simply because they want to make sure our Helix can run it. So yeah, the future looks very good in that respect. And Jared says hi. And yeah, I'm really, really impressed with the poly stuff. What I've noticed is when I've run my acoustic through it, it doesn't work as well, and that's the same with all polyphonic pedals. And I think the algorithm must be voiced for electric guitar. That's all I can assume. I don't know about these things, but that's the case with all of those pitch pedals. They do the electric really well. The electric also has a cleaner sound, doesn't it? There's no like body sounds and things coming through. So I think it's voiced for the electric, but I'll have to experiment more with the acoustic. Someone said try the Acoustasonic from Fender through the acoustic sim. Yeah, but I'm not expecting the acoustic sim to work well through my acoustics. I'm expecting it more to work with the electric, and I think the thicker strings the better.
It's kind of like a speaker sim through a speaker sim.
It's already got a great sim, and the tech in the Acoustasonic is amazing. Or it's using IRs and modeling and stuff already. So, all right.
I know I like my Yamaha. It's a little different than your Acoustasonic, but my Yamaha Trans Acoustic that I've got. Oh, those are great.
I like those too. And that's the thing. I'll just get my little rant out the way. Line 6 have worked in collaboration with Yamaha on the Atmosphere acoustic pickup and on the trans acoustic guitars, and they are now doing acoustic sims and things like that. I just so badly want to see, this is my own little personal rant, I want to see, and wish list, I want to see harmonies and more advanced acoustic modeling and modeling like we saw in, and looping as well, like we used to see in the TC stuff. Because TC have been so quiet lately, and I'm still using their pedals on my board, controlled via MIDI, but I would just love it. You don't know, Chad, how happy I would be if a module came out with the Helix, which was for singers. I mean, the Helix 4 is great for vocals already. It's got reverb, delays, noise gate, compression. The Helix is great for vocals. I made a video about it, but it doesn't do the harmonies. But now we have the harmony algorithm. I'm so hoping we get those TC Helicon guitar-driven harmonies, at least in the next version. But I think I asked Joe about it on the channel. He said they're not really, they're an electric guitar company. They're focused on electric guitars. So I get it, but I would just be so happy if they took over, the ropes from TC Helicon and did all that stuff. But I have to say that in every video, so I'm just getting that out of the way now.
Well, what I want to see, and I've thought this out, is how the Helix has that little place that kind of curves down, on the side of it, on each side it kind of curves underneath. Well, I thought they could add a pedal that had 2 more expression pedals and a really amazing looper. Just that you could just dovetail onto your Helix and just click, boom, and then plug it in, and now you have 2 more expression pedals and a really amazing looper. Listen, we want to be able to make a loop, save the loop, call it back, add things in, do something musically with it other than just, hey, let me do a real quick line here and then play over it. I want something more robust.
And import loops as well. I made a new board. It's on the floor right now and some pedals are not Velcroed yet. But I basically got the HX Stomp, the TC Touch, because it has MIDI clock and MIDI control, and the Boss Looper, the RC500. So they're so funny, like they're not really cutting edge pedals, but they do the job and they're all controlled via MIDI. But the apps on the iPad, like Quantaloop, I mean, actually, don't forget, everyone, you can use Quantaloop with the Helix and have access to a 4-track looper. It works really well, especially if you just use that by itself. They were so smart to put the USB through in their products because it gives you access to the iPad apps. Some of those apps are amazing. That's why I hinted at earlier, it'd be great to have an app store on Apple where you buy the looper you want, the guitar processor you want, the vocal processor you want, and just load them into one pedal and make your own board, basically. But I'm thinking way ahead here. But I think why not? Like the screens now are so good, and I look at the screens on the pedals I got down here, and they're like old LCD and they're hard to read. I mean, now we're looking at full color displays with touch screens. That's what we're used to now, isn't it? That's what people are used to now. They're used to these high quality screens and devices. All right, let's keep going. The freeze, something I wanted so badly. I use it all the time. It's so great to freeze the chord and solo over it, and also to figure out a way to use that in like a band, maybe for an intro, or maybe over a solo if you could loop it or something like that. I'm so glad they did that. And this morning I figured out that, of course, you want to put it at the end like a looper, so nothing else that you change will change the effects through it. So I had it at the beginning, and when I turned on the drive pedal, you'd hear the drive come on that freeze effect. So I moved it to the end of the chain, and now that's not affected. And then in Snapshot 2, if you load up the same block turned on, it will continue into Snapshot 2. So that's really cool. I just love stuff like that. It's something that a real amp can't do. It's a digital thing that the real amps. I still love the real amps and all that analog stuff, but they can't do things like this unless you go out and buy the digital pedal version. This is the stuff I want, Chad. I want the freeze. I want the imported loops, the drum machines. I want all this stuff. I want to be at home with my in-ears in and feel like I'm in a 3-piece band in my living room. And I think now with what's happened this year, a lot of us are in that same situation, right? I never used to play with in-ears, and now I wear them all the time. And I love now playing direct with in-ears. So this is one good thing that's happened this year. It's forced me to use in-ears for the live streams, and now I enjoy playing guitar and singing direct. And if people aren't doing that, haven't done that yet, you should try it. I had to give it some time though. I have to give it some time to kind of adjust and get used to that feeling. But now it's really hard for me to go back. And when you hear the stereo effects and everything in the headphones, it's amazing. And again, something you wouldn't easily get from a real amp. So, okay. Haven't tried the glitch delay yet, but the more delays, the better. And there's all the pitch stuff. Again, I'm really, really impressed with the pitch. Like I've tried the pitch in the Kemper and the FM3. They're really good, but I think I haven't tried the Digitech drop pedal or those things, but it works really well. The 12-string effect is really cool. And if you use native, you could even have an octave effect and a 12-string effect and pan them and stuff like that. So that's why I think native is a great thing for people to explore as well. Now, here's something that I think is really, really cool. The stereo imager has made my tone better. Has anyone in the chat tried this yet? It kind of opens up the sound. Again, with headphones in, it just makes that amp, rather than being like this, it just makes it does what it says on the tin, right? But it really does improve it.
So I have an effect that I've been using all along. And you take a delay and you set the delay in a certain way, and they've just replaced it with this. So it's just a delay trick.
Sure. And I made a freeze effect years ago on my channel, like where you pressed a button that would hold it. I did that. It was help one of the guys in the group actually. I did that, and they've just made it easier. I like that they made it easier though, but I really think that helps. Here's my thought, like comparing this to the Kemper. I have a Kemper, and I think the Kemper VH4 sounds amazing, but I wish I knew what he put into that profile. I feel like that profile has compression and maybe a stereo imager. We don't know. We don't know what they've done to it. Whereas when you just load the block in the Helix, you just get the amp. So I think it's really cool now that I can do this stereo imaging, add stuff to it, and get close to that sound. And I really feel like I've gotten close to that sound as well. And that's not even with using like dual cabs or anything. It's just one Mesa 212 cab that I got from York Audio. So I think this stuff really helps. It makes you make the sound bigger, and I think that's really important. And if you haven't tried the stereo effects, you should try them. Just stick it at the end and try it out. I think I'm just going to leave it in my patches now, in my stereo patches. I'm just going to leave it in there at all times.
So Eric, put up Eric Ritter's comment. I have a solution for him, and it's what I do, and I'll see if I can explain to him how to do it. Hold on. Let's see, user, there it is, acoustic, there it is, delay. Okay, Eric, so take a simple delay, a simple stereo delay, put it, after your amp or whatever, and you set the time to 10 milliseconds, feedback to 0, mix to 50, level to 0, and scale at 14%, and you get a really, really nice stereo spread.
Dare I switch over to Logic and actually show a demo of it? I might do that in a second, because Tone Wars says didn't notice much of a difference. Well, you can tell me. Maybe I'm wrong. I already think it adds a lot to the sound. I think that's really cool. And I can't imagine it uses that much DSP either. True preset spillover. I can see its uses. I haven't used it yet. It depends how many amps and things you want to use. Favorites. I haven't used favorites yet, but I'm glad it's in there.
Oh, favorites are amazing.
Yeah, because I always load up a reverb and turn the mix down to the same number. So now I can just bring up the favorite.
Yeah,
right?
and you can drag and drop it.
Yeah,
your favorite right where you want.
And the model defaults, so you can set up the amp in the same way.
Well, and with the favorites, it'll save your foot switch location as well.
Oh, very cool. So it's the same every time. Because I always put my foot switches in the same place. That makes sense.
There you go. Yeah, because so if you've got a certain thing you want a certain place, you save it as it's finished, and you hit the favorites. And you drag and drop it in any preset. It'll set it right up there. That's an amazing feature.
Along the lines of DSP, 8 blocks in stump is awesome. I feel like acoustic guitarists might want to have like 8 EQs to really shape their tone. But of course, remember, we've got the DSP limitations here. I think one one pitch effect and one amp starts to eat up my DSP already. So again, I think Chad, you said it earlier. They've given us options. They've opened it up and given us options. We don't have to use them. I think that's really smart. I think that's really cool. Open it up more. Yeah. Command Center Matrix Stomp. Someone said it's not really for the 3 buttons as buttons, but you could use it as a MIDI controller for another device. But like I said, what I think is awesome is that you can also use the 2-button external switch. So that can be for your lights or your cameras or something like that. Again, that's how I use it. You can use it however you want to, or not at all. Tuner in Helix Native is awesome. I wish I could turn it on with the foot switch command, MIDI command from the MC8. I don't think I can. Please tell me if I'm wrong. But I'm so glad the tuner is in there, because Native is just getting more and more a viable option to use on stage now. Like, it's got everything's being added all the time. But I wish I could turn it on with the MIDI button. I don't know if I can. I'm sure Alec might know about that. And the gain reduction meters, I absolutely love them in Native now as well, because sometimes when I turn on a compressor, I can hear it, but I want to see what it's doing. I'm visual, I want to see what's actually going on, and now you can see it. So that's really cool too. So yeah,
I like the artist presets. That's pretty cool.
Let's I tell you what, we're all friends here. I'm gonna grab my guitar and switch over to Logic. We'll just try a few things out, just have some fun, because we can't just sit here and talk about this thing all day long and actually play it, right? So just give me a sec. Just talk amongst yourselves while I plug in.
I'm talking amongst myself. How do I do that?
I said talk amongst yourselves, not talk to yourselves. There's a difference.
Oh.
Lovely comments. I'm sorry, the chat is awesome. I'm sorry I'm not acknowledging all your messages. I am reading them. I'm trying to read them while I run the stream as well.
Jason Carter said, Aaron, your streams make Hennings look like a kindergarten.
Well,
not a clue, but very interesting.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because me and him are frenemies. So that's really good to hear. Right, you can see Logic.
Tell us about that. Tell us.
What, frenemies?
Dish, come on.
No, honestly, Henning was great to me. Okay, Chad, let's get this out of the way. I'm really sad we're not going to be doing NAMM this year. NAMM is a highlight for me. And this year in particular was amazing, because I got in there early, because I was with Rainsong Guitar, so I had the early pass, as you know. So I got in there. I was crazy. I was there at 7 a.m. every day when the forklift trucks were putting the thing together, and I ran into him at one point, and he remembered me from another time I ran into him at NAMM. And then I sort of tagged along with him. We made some videos at Yamaha with Ross. Actually, Ross is going to be on the channel Tuesday at 4 p.m. So tune in for that one, and he'll be doing some playing. Ross from Line 6. So me and Henning kind of became friends, and then he was just really supportive. He got me in some videos. He introduced me to some people. He was awesome, and he always mocks me about the Fender Acoustasonic. But again, for someone like me, that's an amazing guitar, because it does the electric and the acoustic stuff really, really well. But for someone like him, he doesn't really get it. He doesn't need it, because he's got his guitars at home and his amps, and he plays whatever he wants, right? He's not doing the live streams like I am, where I want to switch from acoustic to electric in an instant. So there's another example of a product that's for a certain person, not for everybody.
Right.
Maybe.
Right.
I think I really love that guitar. But yeah, we joke about it, and then he was joking about batteries. We were talking about the batteries and the Yamaha acoustic guitars, and he was kind of making a joke about me with that. But the funny thing is, I was talking to LR Bags on the phone last week, and they said how important batteries are in acoustic guitar preamps. So I said, well, okay.
Like the Yamaha Trans Acoustic, it uses AA.
Yes,
in a little pack.
That's what we were talking about.
That's amazing. I think it's amazing.
That's why we were talking about what's the reason for that. Does it make a difference to the tone? And I would assume all guitarists would say, of course, everything makes a difference to the tone. But he just mocked me and said, stop talking about batteries. That was funny. It's on his channel if you want to watch it from them. Okay. I think there might be a lag. I think earlier we had a lag on your feed when I did this, but I'm going to have to do it to hear the audio from Logic. But let me know if you can hear it once I switch it over. What I'm doing is I'm setting Logic to send the audio through Ecamm. So there will be a delay for me. There'll be latency for me. So I can't comment on latency right now. But at least you'll hear what I'm hearing. So can you hear that, Chad? Just give me a second. I'm just going to get my levels right. Okay, so here is native. I'm really enjoying this. I mean, if you're at home, why not use this? Look at the amount of stuff I have in this patch. Let me just bring it over here. Make sure you can see it. So I have a poly capo, which sounds like this.
You might need to turn off your microphone because it sounds hideous.
How's that? Is it going wobbly?
It's a little bit.
That's my microphone off. The sound. Maybe because I'm routing it through. We just try one more time. Is that no good? Is it kind of going like warbly and weird?
It's not really warbling weird, but I'm hearing your strings.
Oh. I'm not sure. My microphone is muted. So you shouldn't be hearing the strings.
But I can hear your voice.
Let me just try again. Could you hear that?
No.
Okay. So let me try that again. How was that? Yeah, my vocals was muted, so you shouldn't be hearing the strings of the guitar.
I still thought I could hear them.
Could you hear them there?
I still can hear your strings hitting. I can hear it. I don't know.
Tell me in the chat. Let me try this one. Does that sound the same as this?
That sounds amazing. That sounds good.
But that was my recording of the Kemper that I wanted to compare it to. So are you saying that the... Oh, maybe Chad hears more on the stream.
Yeah, maybe that's true.
Okay, well, I'll just do it then. I'll just do it and hope for the best. I thought it was fine when I tested it earlier. So here is the...
I could be messing with you.
I know, that's what I'm thinking. Look, here's the new clean amp. This is the US Princess. I think this thing is great because this guitar sounds so bright and tinny that the amp really warms up nicely. So that's why I'm really liking this one. Let me just play this one. Okay, so I really like that. And then here's a little quick demo of the pitch effect. I'll just go down the numbers here so you can hear it. I think that's really good. And that's on the highest. No, this is X stable here. So that's the most stable sounding. If you bring it down, you're going to get less latency to X fast. But then you're also going to get more artifacts and stuff like that. But even on this X stable, I think it sounds really, really good. And you probably wouldn't want to bring it down to -12, but you can do if you want to. And you can use -12 for like an octave effect.
So people are saying ouch because when you played that and you said it sounded good, I could hear your strings and it sounded really bad.
Oh, okay. Oh, because you hit the strings at the same time?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I might have to abandon. Let me just try one thing in my settings here. I might have to abandon this demo.
Yeah, see, everybody's agreeing. That says the last thing sounded like an in-tune guitar along with an out-of-tune guitar. Latency of the strings captured. I think Focusrite is letting you down.
Yeah, I agree. It's way too fiddly to use it and then put it through the streaming software as well. Let me just test this. Yeah, so you're hearing the actual guitar, the clean guitar, and you're hearing the transform sound as well, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
When you play this back and you listen to that part.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay. I'm gonna forget about that. Let me just show you what I've done on the screen then. So I put the polycapo first. I've gone into settings and put it into hardware compatibility off, so I can use as many blocks as my computer will allow me to, which is really, really awesome. That's why I'm loving native right now. And then I have a compressor as usual. The poly sustain is here. I would normally have that at the end, so it's not affected by the other sounds. There's a noise gate, and there's the clean. And then when I go to my heavy, it's going to transfer over to this bottom line where I have the new VH4 going into a York Audio IR right there. So pretty simple, but even this on its own would not be possible if I had the compatibility mode off, right? I wouldn't be able to do that. So
right.
So yeah, so I actually, that's one thing I don't like about Logic. I find it incredibly confusing to set up native to use MIDI and then route the sound out through the interface. That's a lot easier to the stream. It's a lot easier for me to do that just by plugging in a Helix with the cable and just playing that, because then they've got none of those routing things going on. So that's one downside of using like programs and apps and things like that, how you route them out. Whereas with a hardware pedal, you just put it on the floor, plug the cable in,
right,
and it goes through. So yeah, that's one thing with that.
Chris Brumbaugh said, "I'm sure it sounds good in the room, but it definitely sounded like a guitar falling down the stairs on our end." Yeah.
Is yours set up to play through direct or not?
Not easily at this moment.
Okay, that's a shame. I want to show some stuff. I'm sure when I tested it, it was fine. Okay.
Yeah. So I probably have to go in just a little bit, but okay. I wanted to talk about the huge giveaway, the 3.0 30,000 member giveaway on our group, and we're going to have, it's to be announced. It's the we're gonna give away. Oh goodness, we're gonna give away a Helix rack and control, a Helix floor, a Helix LT, an HX Stomp, and a HX FX, a Pod Go, and then we're going to have a Helix native as well. On top of that, we're going to give away some stuff from Gear by Seba, and we're going to have some other things. There's going to be a big little pack of IRs by a company, and yeah, let's see, yeah, and some other things. So right now, Noatronic, we're going to give away 2 Noatronic mini controllers. So and we're still getting some more people. I'm going to talk to Paul at Mission and see if he wants to add anything to the giveaway. So
That's a really cool giveaway. That's some great prizes. So
Yeah,
have you got a date for this, or is it still?
We don't have a date. We don't have a date. Just follow my channel. On because what we're doing is it's going to be with Chris Saraga, myself, and we're going to have Frank Richat, Joe Bentavegna, Eric Klein, and a few others that we have to coordinate a time that will work for everybody.
Okay.
So that's why I can't really give a date. I mean, I'd like to do it tomorrow, but I just can't. So we have to get everything ready. And it's going to be you don't have to. I mean, I'd like you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and it's youtube.com/Chad Boston. But you don't have to. You can if you want to. But it's going to be on that channel, and you have to attend the live stream to win, because we're just going to give it away randomly. And what we're going to do is, because every time we do one of these giveaways, it's hard to get the right information. It takes a little bit of coordination. They send me an email, blah, blah, blah. We're actually going to have a page that they go to that they're going to have to put what they won, and they can't lie because we're going to keep track. But you have to put what they won, their YouTube, because it's going to be on YouTube, so they have to give their YouTube screen name, because that's how we're going to track it. Their email address, their address, the phone number, and their first and last name. We want to make sure that we get this information. But they'll have to go, in order to get it, they'll have to go and fill out the form on my website. So that'll be Gear by Seba.
Of course, why wouldn't you,
awesome.
right?
Yeah,
Why wouldn't you do that?
Well, the last time it took a while. I have to go through the emails, and people would give me some information. It was a lot of work. This way, they just fill out the form. They make sure they fill it out completely, and then I can just forward those emails off to Frank. So.
Okay. So subscribe to your YouTube channel, Chad Boston. Join the official Line 6 Helix group on Facebook, and watch out for the announcement, and make sure you enter to win, because they're awesome prizes. They really are. Great.
Yeah. And how you win, again, is just by being, there's nothing you have to enter. You just have to be on the stream.
Okay.
It's given away on the stream. You don't have to enter to win. If you're there and you participate, basically it's going to be a random draw, and we have a little countdown. We do this here. Let's see if I got these countdown. Let's see. Is it this one? Yeah, could be this one, and then. Oh wait, it's this one. There we go. We'll be playing this, and when this stops, then they stop putting their numbers in. So.
All right. Very fancy. I must get those sound effects. I only have this one.
Wait. So I use the Rodecaster Pro. I love the Rodecaster Pro. So maybe they'll give me something sometime.
I was going to get that, but it doesn't have a quarter-inch input, right? It has XLR inputs on the back.
Yeah, but so.
Well, I got to use two things. Actually, what I use right now is the Line 6 M20D into the interface.
Yeah. So that's what I do. So that's how I get my quarter inches in, is I use the M20D into the Rodecaster. Is
the giveaway worldwide or USA only?
Okay, so I don't, my stuff is worldwide. The other stuff will be worldwide. But because I have to ship these, like the Noatronics, I may have to say, if you win and you're in Europe or worldwide, you might have to pay the shipping, because I have the item now, and it's like a few dollars to ship here in the United States. So it just depends. And I don't know where Line 6 falls. They have in the past done it worldwide, but there is some potential restrictions that they have of sending American stuff into certain areas, even if it's a gift. I don't know where that falls, so I can't say. It's just be good to be there, and if Frank says worldwide, then great. Okay. But at this point, I don't know.
So stay tuned for the stream. Join.
There is room for people who are worldwide to win something. So it's
So join Chad there and everyone from Line 6, and then you got to be in it to win it. So definitely do that. Sounds like a great giveaway. Chad, it's been a long time since I spoke with you. This has been awesome to catch up and discuss 3.0. It really is awesome. Like I said to everyone watching that's into the Helix, I'm going to have Ross Bailey, a fellow Brit, on Tuesday at 4 p.m. EST. And that's going to be mostly playing and asking him how he uses it. So what I'll do for that stream is I'll plug the Helix directly into my interface so I can do some playing.
Who's it going to be?
Ross Bailey from Yamaha and YGG and Line 6. He's been on here before discussing the Yamaha acoustic guitars. So when 3.0 came out, I just said, oh, can you come on and show us how you use it? I said, can you send me like presets and examples? And he said, I don't really make complicated presets. So I just load up an amp and just play. So I was like, okay, well, we'll hang out anyway and just try some things out and discuss what's in there and how he uses it and how I use it. Perhaps we can learn from each other.
Now B Mo says NAMM is online now. What do you mean by that?
So it will be online workshops and a bit like GearFest. They might, I don't know if they're working with companies to bring them on their website like GearFest did, but they are going to do the educational stuff online. What I assume will happen is that companies will do their own demos for NAMM. I think NAMM will still happen, but it'll be like this. It'll be like online. So maybe at that time we can go live and do. I'll try and go live every day and cover what's being released and bring in guests like yourself just to discuss the reactions and thoughts. Let's face it, we've got to be used to being online right now for a little while, right?
I would like to join you for reactions to things that are coming out. That'd be fun.
Yeah, it'd be great if we just went live and just loaded it up and just gave our initial reactions and just discussed it out loud. That'd be really cool. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you, everyone. I'm gonna have to go back and read the chat because I was too busy running the stream. But I really appreciate you all being here. It's been awesome. I appreciate Chad being here. Subscribe to Chad Boston on YouTube. Please subscribe and ring the bell on my YouTube as well, so you're notified when I go live. Tuesday is Ross Bailey, 4 p.m. EST, going really in depth on 3.0 and just trying stuff out. So please come and join us for that on the YouTube channel. And everyone be safe and well and enjoy Helix 3.0. There really is a ton of amazing stuff in there, and I'm sure you'll see more updates coming from Line 6 on that soon, and videos from myself and Chad as well. So just stay tuned. All right, Chad, thank you so much. It's been great seeing you, my friend. It's been too long.
Yeah.
And we'll do it again soon, all right?
It has. Yeah,
all right.
Sounds good.
Thank you, everyone. See you next time. Bye-bye.